What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another edition of On the Road to Victory. I am your host, Jimmy Smith, and I hope you're all having yourselves a great weekend. It has been one hell of a long one for me. I have been up and early. The lawnmower man at it again today, but it's been a long one, but I told you I would get this out to you, and here we are. We're going to get to know the 2023 Philadelphia Eagles. Appreciate all of you tuning in live. If you're watching this later, love to hear your thoughts on this, but we're going to get to know everything about the Eagles. In case you missed anything, you will get to know all of these players. So we'll take a look at even the players we lost. We'll take a look at that first, and then all the players we added, whether that was by signing, drafting, undrafted free agent signings, the guys trying out this weekend. We're going to talk about all of it, then take a position by position look, break it down so you can see who's playing where. I see a lot of confusion out there, guys playing positions they don't play. So we're going to throw that all out here. And then, of course, I will show you the Philadelphia Eagles depth chart at the end here. So let's rock and roll, ladies and gentlemen. Any questions, comments you have, though, feel free to leave them down below. My man Anthony in here. Let's go. Appreciate you tuning in, man. Hope you're doing well. But we're going to break this damn thing down, take a look at this team, man. And I'm pretty damn excited. And, you know, I've talked about Howie Roseman, what he's been doing here, building in what I believe to be a dynasty here because of Jalen Hurts and the things we are adding around him the last couple of years. And I think it's only going to continue. We talked about that a couple months ago when we saw that in free agency, in the draft, via trade, all those things. So very excited about it. Now, a month or so ago, you know, doom and gloom from a lot of the media people. Oh, they lost everyone. Everyone's gone. What are the Eagles going to do? Well, you see here, we did lose some people. And I think we were all very well aware of the fact that we were going to lose a lot of these people. So you lose some linebackers, safeties, defensive tackle, and very good players on defense. And then on offense, some important pieces in Sanders and Sayamalu. And look, I get it, but we all knew this was going to happen. So Howie goes out and brings out a lot of the people we needed back and then adds a bunch more pieces here. So you see, man, been a busy guy on offense and on the defensive side of the ball. You can see the players that were added from other teams, the players that were brought back. And hell yeah, man. You get, you know, all those other moves, and I'll talk about those, the re-signings, all that great stuff. But you see here where there are a couple free agents still out there, but we brought back those that were important. And we talked about it maybe mid-season. You need to bring back one of those D tackles again. Quinn was a waste of a trade, but hey, we tried. And Brett Kern, well, he was atrocious. But you see here with the restructures, with all of the things that Howie was able to do with those signings, we still have $13.5 million estimated. That's my estimation here of cap space. And, you know, I've had the cap hits for those rookies for a while now. And we've talked about those as players were brought back or signed. We kept up with the cap space here. So once all of the rookies are signed, we will talk about these moves that Howie can make. And I still think he could definitely make a trade if he wants a linebacker or a safety, whatever. But we'll talk about those positions as we get into them. But look, we also added players via the draft. And what a draft it was. You guys that were tuning in, you know, pre-draft process, throughout the draft, this was one of my most fun drafts. I had so much fun with you guys breaking it down and then enjoying getting so many of the players that we talked about. And my excitement is through the roof for this damn team. So a great draft again by Howie, possibly his best draft ever. You know, we traded for DeAndre Swift in there. So, wow, just a phenomenal draft by Howie. So excited about that. You'll see those guys coming up, and you'll see these guys added in as well. We signed some undrafted kids here. So got a couple of receivers, a tight end, a couple of offensive linemen, a punter, linebacker, a couple corners here. So guys going to be competing this summer, and there are guys actually competing right now as we speak. You saw yesterday the rookie minicamp tryouts began. Well, we've got, I think it's 18 of these guys here that are trying to make the squad, and there's like 3 open roster spots. So you got a couple running backs, a few receivers, a tight end, and the guys at the bottom left you see there with the little asterisk there, you've got guys that are obviously not rookies. So 2 there that played in the XFL, and then Sammy Reyes, who was playing for the Commanders. And then you see over Godfrey, a long snapper. You've got everything your heart could desire. Each position, there are some guys trying out. So maybe if the Eagles feel one of these guys could bring something to the table, they will do that. Now, we broke a lot of these people down, so go check those videos out. If you're looking for the undrafted guys, anything like that, there is playlists for the draft stuff, everything you could ever want. It's out there, so go check that out. But just wanted you to know, if you see some players coming up here, you can always rewind, go back and see where that player came from, whether he was added in the draft or undrafted signing or whatever it may be. But yeah, we're going to jump into breaking this bad boy down here in a second. My man Twisted in here. Let's go. Yo. And look, man. I got it done, so I didn't need it today. I actually had to go to my girlfriend's shop, which is a whole different ball game because they whole different equipment there. And that one just had to use the push mower today. But that was a fun morning, but appreciate your advice. I thank you for that. But appreciate all of you guys that are tuning in here. Let's keep this train rolling, and you will see position by position. We're going to go through things. We'll go through the offense first, and then we'll hit up the defense, and special teams will be added in there as well. But we'll look at each player that is vying for a job at each position, and let's talk about it. So we'll start it off with quarterback, and we know we got QB1 in the house, Jalen effing Hurts. But we brought in Marcus Mariota, and look, you've got Book here in his, it'll be his third season, but Tanner McKee was drafted, and a lot of people felt a certain way, but look, whatever, man, 6'6", and he can actually move for how big he is. And look, these guys, I think it's a perfect room to be behind Jalen Hurts here, and I'm excited to see, who wants to win that third job here, whether that be Book or McKee. The other guy will end up on the practice squad if someone else does not take them away. But look, Jalen Hurts, baby, we got our QB of the future. Very excited about that. Broke down that contract, all that great stuff. So let's go. QB1, man. That's the future right there. Now, running back, a lot of fear here because of Miles Sanders leaving. Would they leave it up to Kenny G? But they go ahead and sign Rashad Penny, trade for DeAndre Swift. And you've got Trey Sermon, Boston Scott, and Kennedy Brooks here too. Who wants to be 4? Are we keeping 5 here? But that 3-man rotation right there, they're all going to have a role, and I think it's going to be really fun to watch behind this Eagles offensive line. So very excited about the running back room here. And look, when Penny and Swift are healthy, man, they are pretty damn good. And I think, Thunder and Lightning, and you've got essentially Earth, Wind, and Fire here with these 3 guys. So all about it, man. And I think we all know, Swift can help you in the passing game. So can Kenny, and just so many different things. And I really cannot wait to see what Nick Sirianni and Brian Johnson come up with for these guys. So let's effing go. And then you see the wide receivers. We've got some battles here, man. And we talked about it. Who wants to be the third guy? Is it going to be Quez? Is it going to be Olamide? But you've got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith as your 1 and 2. So best duo in the game, makes you feel pretty good. But hey, look, you've got some other guys that, some bring some return capability, and look, Britton Covey had the punt returner job last season. You had guys like Greg Ward, Devin Allen in here on the practice squad. You had Tyree Cleveland. And now this year you bring in, and anybody who's a rookie, you'll notice, with under experience, it'll be in green. So that'll help you find where the rookies are. But you've got Hazelwood there, who we talked about, played with Hurts before. Nada, he has some kick return experience. So these guys are going to compete this all season, try to push out some of these other guys and show they can bring something to the table here. But hey, nothing's off the table if the Eagles wanted to add to that room. But I think if Quez just steps it up, gets back to where he was a year before, and, Olamide could really be pushing him, or he takes the job, or they both get a nice, sample size. So either way, I think it's still a decent room. And when you've got A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, it's a fantastic room. So I'm not as concerned as a lot of people. Now, all around, sure, you don't have 10 names that you're like, oh, yeah, this is great. But this is the NFL, man. And when you've got 2 top dogs like that, you don't necessarily need it. Now, I do need Quez Watkins to step it up. But I'm just saying it's not dire need that we go out trade for DeAndre Hopkins like people are saying. I don't feel that. I don't feel that way. And I think that Quez will hopefully, this lights a fire under his ass, and Olamide fits in here well. He's played for the Falcons, which sucks. So, hey, I'm all about it. Let's go, Philly kid. Bring it on, baby. Now at tight end, you can see here, we all know Dallas Goedert leads the show here and one of the best tight ends in the game. But who the hell wants to be tight end 2 behind him? Jack Stoll, more of your H-back blocking type guy. Then you've got guys like Calcaterra, Jackson, who are receiving type tight ends, and then they go ahead and sign Dan Arnold, who is definitely a receiving type tight end. We talked about him the other day. Somebody that's going to line up in the slot as a tight end because he did that one of the most a couple years ago, and he's a former receiver, but at his size, he could definitely bring something to the table. Be that Y type guy that pushes out, or I'm sorry, the F type tight end that pushes out Calcaterra or Jackson. But you got Keene and you got Russell here, so some guys that are vying for a job. But I think really those Stoll, Arnold, and Calcaterra are going to be vying for 2 jobs there. So we'll see who wins it, or maybe they keep all 4 of those guys I just said there. But look, I like the tight end room now with Arnold here, but Stoll really needs to step it up as the tight end 2, the blocking guy. We need somebody that is a blocking tight end and allow Goddard to do other things, and this F-type tight end to come in, have the 12 and 13 personnel. So all about it, man. Now, the thing that gets these weapons going, man, is this offensive effing line, baby. And we'll start with the outside. We know we got the Twin Towers here in Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata. And, behind that, you lose Andre Dillard. I know a lot of people didn't like him, but it's like, oh, after that, you're like, wait a minute. Now you've got someone very versatile in Jack Driscoll who can play inside, outside. I love the kid. He's definitely making the squad, your swing tackle. But Brett Toth is here, and he's another versatile guy that can play in and out. And I think with him, he was injured last year. If he is healthy, he could make the roster. But you've got some vets in Roderick Johnson and Fred Johnson, some young men in Jared Williams, and then 2 rookies, Trevor Reed and Chim Okorafor. So guys are going to be vying for jobs, and there are versatile pieces in there, guys that can play that guard position. So if they want to try to, win a spot here, that's something that usually helps. But got some big dudes in here, and Trevor Reed is somebody I'm pretty intrigued by. I think he could push out some of these other guys. And, we had Josh Sills there, and he's dealing with some things. And if so true, then FM. But I don't want to judge anyone. But either way, he's dealing with some stuff, and we're going to have to find that guy they want to be part of this future. And maybe Trevor Reed, maybe Chim Okorafor from a small school steps it up at that monstrous size and shows he can help a guard tackle. We shall see. But then interior-wise, here's a big question mark at right guard, but not really for me because you guys know I've said it. Landon Dickerson, obviously, your left guard. Jason Kelsey, your center. But Cam Jurgens, Tyler Steen, who's going to be that right guard? And a lot of people are a little intrigued by me saying he would move right to right guard. But I told you, I reached out to my source, the guy that works with the offensive lineman, and told me that Stout effing loves this kid, thinks he will be the right guard of the future. Now, I don't know if he starts right away, but Cam Jurgens would also have to learn a new position. They want Steen to be there for the future. Jurgens will be the center of the future. So not so sure he gets that job. But look, they're going to be competing. I think Steen has more of that size they're looking for. And Sayamalu was about the same size as Cam Jurgens. So it's not that he can't get it done. He's not too small or anything like that. But I think they're looking for someone more in the Brandon Brooks size department. So look, Tyler Steen, best of luck to him. Cam Jurgens, whoever wins the job, it just opens the best guy. But you've got guys like Opeta and Tyrese Robinson, Julian Good-Jones. Maybe Driscoll wants to try to step it up, win that right guard job. But Cameron Tom there as a backup center as well. But I think, I feel pretty good about the interior. I think Steen could win that job or Jurgens. If not, you've got depth across the board. So I feel pretty good about what the Eagles did on offense this offseason. But that was the offense there. And again, after I get through the defense here and then we look at the special teams for a second, I will show you the depth chart so you can see what all these guys look like all bunched together there. But you know how you feel about the offense. We got the D coming up. My man, what's going on? BDC in the house. Appreciate you, my dude. Hope you're having a great weekend. But we're going through this, getting to know the damn team. Giant Killer could definitely make the roster, but he could definitely be off the roster with the fact that we've got 3 studs, and then you've got Sermon, Scott, Kennedy. But I think Boston could definitely make this roster, but we shall see. What do you think about trading for Cordero Patterson since the trade? Well, we talked about Cordero during that trade show. Thought you were a part of that, but if you missed that one, man, there were 25 names I brought up, and I said of all the running backs everyone's bringing up, the only name I'd trade for is Cordero Patterson because he helps you as a kick returner. Appreciate you tuning in, my man Sean. Yo, dude, hope you're having a great weekend. We're going through this damn roster. I'm going to be showing you the depth chart at the end here, but let's go through this defense here. Take a gander, and I've seen a lot of confusion, people being put as D tackles or ends or this, that. Let's try to break this thing down. And since we finished with the interior of the offense, let's start with the interior of the defense. All begins in the trenches. So, oh boy, number 1 pick, Jalen effing Carter, man. Added to the mix with Fletcher Cox, Jordan Davis, Milton Williams, and those dudes are going to form quite a rotation and be next to each other a lot of the times, destroying people in these odd fronts. A lot of these two-gap monsters. A lot of guys that can play a lot of different techniques. So you've heard me extensively talk about these guys. Cannot wait to see them feast. But you've got some intriguing backups here, man. Marlon Tuipulotu was looking great before the injury last year. Kentavious Street, a very decent backup for depth. And you drafted Moro Ojomo, who I really think is exciting. And then you got Noah Ellis, who brings you nose tackle depth. So you've got some depth here. You got some guys competing for those defensive tackle, nose tackle jobs. And I think obviously you're going to have to be very flexible and versatile in this defense. We're going to be playing a lot of odd fronts, but hey, some even will be put in there too. But I think that these pieces, you're going to see, schemes where you've got Carter, Davis, Williams next to each other with, the edge rushers on the outside. And on one of those sides, I wanted to break this down so people understand it, because last year we had to try to teach about the Sam linebacker, because people just, they kept saying Hassan Reddick was a middle linebacker. He was the guy. I didn't understand it, where the confusion was. So I'm going to once again try to break this down. Now, these are the edge rushers broken into 2 categories. So first up, we've got the defensive ends. So on one side, you've got Josh Sweat. Now, his depth is Brandon Graham, Derek Barnett, Janarius Robinson is 4th on the depth chart. I've seen a lot of things about him being the backup D tackle. No, that is not correct. But Teron Jackson, Matt Leo, you've got some depth here, but probably going to keep 3-4 of these guys. I think Janarius Robinson could definitely make this roster. We talked about when we traded for him. Look, he's got almost that same size as Derek Barnett there. So they like these slender, fast dudes coming at you. And talked about those monsters in the middle there. They, feast and allow these guys to get theirs. And I think Sweat going to continue to dominate. You saw Brandon Graham as a backup last year. He was destroying souls. And I think it was 47% of the snaps that he played as a backup. And I thought he did phenomenal. And, obviously as he gets older, this is his 13th. That's insane. Like, I just really think that this dude, love him to death. Maybe 14th season. I really can't love him enough. And I think, obviously Brandon Graham, he's going to have that reduced role, but that's okay. He's still going to get his. So excited to see what he can do. But on the other side, these outside linebackers, the Sam linebacker, the weak side linebacker is something completely different, but I want to throw it in here just to explain it. So the Sam linebacker, the strong side, the Will is the weak side. And really, to simplify it, strong side is where the tight end, where you've got more people on that side. So and it's not that simple though, because he can line up on the weak side. Hassan Reddick, it's, in this defense, it's going to be a lot like the defense we ran, from the Vic Fangio scheme, but a lot of Nick Saban stuff added in there. But these Sam linebackers we talk about need to not only be dominant edge rushers, but also have the skill set to drop into coverage. And we talked about this extensively last season when, I don't know where, but that I don't know. Regardless, Hassan Reddick, he showed that that's what a Sam linebacker does. Only drops into coverage a few times, and he did well when he needed to. But that's just part of the disguise here. Now, a Will linebacker is, on the weak side, clearly, but more of the athletic guy and, more of the guy that can, he's still not somebody you'd want to not be able to stop the run and shit, but not like Hassan Reddick, right? But the thing about Nolan Smith, the reason I threw him in here and put Will under him is because I think that there are going to be schemes and formation where you see both of these guys on the field at the same time. So you're going to see the linebackers next, the interior guys. And, at times Morrow will be starting at Will, but I think Nolan Smith will not only be depth for Hassan Reddick and play that Sam role, but I think he'll be able to play Will with him also. So on the field at the same time, spelling for him, I think Nolan Smith will have a big rookie season with a lot of snaps here. But you've got Patrick and Kyron Johnson also can play that Sam linebacker position. So something I wanted to try to clear up. I've seen a lot of confusion still this year, but hey, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Always happy to try to help explain that. But then these are your actual linebackers. This is not Hassan Reddick. He's not playing where TJ Edwards and Kaiser White were. This is not your middle linebacker, your weak side in your, 4-3s. That's not, and we don't really run that. We run a lot of 4-2 if we're going to run an even front. But regardless, Nakobe Dean, Nicholas Morrow will get the most snaps out of those guys. But I think, I'm just saying, Nolan Smith, I really think will take Nicholas Morrow's spot at one point. But they'll both be able to play because, again, there's going to be packages where, Morrow's going to need to play that will linebacker because Nolan Smith's in at Sam. So perfectly fine. You want versatility. You want guys to be able to move around. So love it. And then you've got, the depth behind there. I love Sean Bradley. I thought Christian Ellis actually did great on special teams. So found his way onto the roster. And I think he could do that again this year. Davian Taylor really is going to need to step it up. And then you brought in undrafted Ben Van Sumeren. So you've got some guys competing. But I'd be all for trading for a Patrick Queen. I've talked about it extensively. He and Nakobe Dean. But I also feel you don't need to do that because what I just mentioned there, I think Nolan Smith added into this room, understanding that, Dean, Morrow, Reddick, and Smith are going to be the ones getting all of those snaps. And that's perfectly fine, man. That's good. That's good. That's good. So not as concerned, but also I'm not going to be mad if we had Patrick Queen. But, he wants a new contract. Obviously, he hasn't played as well. They added Roquan Smith, though. So, look, I think that you could definitely add someone like that. But I think if they're going to trade, they might add somewhere else. And we're going to keep this train rolling. But let me check out these comments real fast here before we get into the secondary. And then I will show you that special teams, of course, next. But I could have been, hey, it's all right, my man. But go check that video out. There's every trade piece you guys could ever think of is in that video. Losing Kelsey Graham unnecessary wonder. Yeah, man, it's going to blow. Definitely don't want to look forward to that day. Hope our next step. Yeah, as the DE3, I think it's a perfect position for him. So, look, he had a lot of stupid penalties, but beyond that, he does have talent. But as the third, behind Sweat, behind Graham, and if Robinson can beat him out, then he's the fourth. And we talked about that. He could definitely not make the team, but I think with the money, yeah, we talked about that during the show. But playing weight's 242, no doubt. And I'd love to have him put that on. I'm just going with what the team page has for the height and weight, drop coverage, least times he has in his career. Exactly. And people were losing their mind just because they didn't understand the defense. And I did my best to break that all down over and over and over again. And Nolan Smith has a phenomenal pass rush, and he's going to learn from Hassan Reddick. He's got such a great skill set, athleticism. I'm very excited to see him. I think he's just a weapon you're going to use all over the place. So, heard his interview. He said he's working on them moves. Yes, exactly. So he's going to get better and better and better. So I'm all about it. Now let's check out this secondary. And we saw, bringing back Bradbury, restructuring Slay there, and you've got Avonte Maddox. Hopefully can stay healthy here. But dude, you signed Greedy Williams. You've got McPherson, Scott. You've got Job and Goodrich here, undrafted kids last year. But you drafted Kaylee Ringo, traded up, got him. Excited about his future. A versatile defensive back. I think, a lot of knocks on him, but that's fine, man. He's a young kid, and I think sky's the limit for him with his athleticism and speed. But, yeah, sure, stiff hips, whatever. Anyways, Eli Ricks, Mekhi Garner. You've got two undrafted kids brought in here. That a lot of excitement here. Maybe they could make the squad just like Josh Jobe did last year, but some versatility for some of these guys that can play safety, like a Scott, Jobe, Goodrich, maybe Ringo, Ricks, or Garner could do that. I think Garner could have a good chance of helping out a little bit with safety. So if you can bring versatility to the table, that is definitely going to help this squad out. But you see, love those corners, and I'm excited to watch the competition there. Now at safety, a lot of people got to go out, get Budda Baker. And look, I'd love to have Budda Baker, but hear me out. For all of you that have been tuning in, you know that I loved Sidney Brown this pre-draft process and talked about what he could bring to this defense. Sean Desai, what he's going to be able to do. And, if you want to keep it simple, a big nickel package where you have three safeties on the field. I think those guys right there, Blankenship, Edmonds, Brown, however it plays out, they're going to see a lot of reps. They're going to help this secondary out, and I'm excited to see it. Now, beyond that, you signed Justin Evans. You brought in Tristan McCollum right at the end of right after the Super Bowl there. Then you see Sasha Ray. We all know him. He can help you as a nickel corner, a safety, special teams ace. So, look, competition. I'm all about it. And then Kayvon Wallace, he actually turned it on at the end of the year. But who wants to win that fourth job? Is there going to be a fifth? Honestly, Justin Evans, if he stays healthy, he helps you on special teams. He's got starting capability if he stays healthy. So, look, man, I'm actually pretty excited about this roster as it stands. So I know a lot of people feel got to go out, trade for this guy, that guy. But, hey, maybe you find a diamond in the rough with the undrafted kids, the rookie tryout camps. We'll see what happens here. But don't give up just yet, ladies and gentlemen. I know a lot of the people got to get a safety, got to get a linebacker. And, look, I understand that, man. You want to have a star at every position. But I feel pretty comfortable about what we have here. So let's take a look at the special teams here quick, and then I will show you the depth chart coming up. And it'll have some returners in there, and we can talk about that as well. But kicker, baby, Jake Elliott, one of the best. Rick Lovato, one of the best. Long snappers, you will be a free agent next year. Let's lock him up. But you see here, you got a punter battle. Finally, baby. So you've got Aaron Sipos. Your job is on the line, young man. You've got Ty Zentner here, Legatron, as they call him. And he hopefully can push out Sipos, or Sipos can get his act together if he makes this squad. But whoever wins, may the best man win, because I'm really just, still pissed off about that, last game where, we kind of shanked one and they kind of ran it back to the one there. Yeah, I don't like that. So I love the fact that we finally bring some effing competition in. It's not old man River, Brett Kern. So let's go. Let's go, Ty Zentner. All about it, Legatron. Let's effing go, my man. But, yeah, how about it? We are loaded at cornerback there. And now we're going to take a gander at this depth chart. We'll take a look at it as a whole. And there will be some battles, so don't worry. I'll be moving that stuff around. A lot of these guys I just try to fit in, try to fix it up a little bit. But, dude, today's been so crazy. I can't even believe I was able to make this show. I was like, all right, 10:30 is not too late, whatever. But, and I really think that they're going to be really, really exciting, Sean. So I'm with you, man. I think, talking about guys like that, Lito and Sheldon and those guys, dog, that's high praise. But I think they're, when you look at Sidney Brown, Reed Blankenship, some young men that are going to learn from Terrell Emmons, I think it's a great group that obviously has one of the best, if not the best, in my opinion, the best trio of corners there. And then the young corners behind him, I mean, just talent throughout. So I don't feel you have to trade for Budda Baker, Patrick Queen. Would I mind? No. Whoa. I'd love to have him. But I also love how he did in the draft, free agency, all that stuff. So competition will be had here. All about it. Look, I really feel like, right? It's let them keep hating. We'll keep educating, right, dude? So I'm excited about it. I'm excited about the punter competition. I really think that we're building the Super Bowl contender. And I've talked about this. I think we're building a dynasty here for a team that can compete for a long time because you got a lot of young pieces. We knew some older pieces were gone. That's fine. Look at what we did in this draft. I mean, I'm pretty effing excited. So, yeah, man, it's too rough for me. Look, you guys have seen me every day here just rolling through, man. Rolling through, right? We talked about, okay, Steichen's gone, Gannon's gone, all right, coaching search. I have not stopped not thinking, you know what I mean? I will not. So that's why we've broken down every possible thing we could, and we went through free agency, we went through the draft, every position I could possibly break down. So I hope you enjoyed all of that because I love doing this, man. And I love that you guys tune in and, yeah, we're all hurting. So let's go get that effing trophy this year, man. I'm all about it. But, I feel pretty good at corner. Appreciate you tuning in, yayo. Go effing Birds. Luffy, my man. Appreciate you tuning in as well. One more great offseason. I'm all about it. I think Dynasty is here. It begins this year, and we'll continue to have good off seasons. D-tackle is actually the least needed position here. We have Jordan Davis. And, look, that's why you drafted Jalen Carter, Fletcher Cox, and you have Milton Williams here. So loaded at that position, but the depth there, too. You get Kentavious Street. We talked about Marlon Tupelotu staying healthy, and I love Moro Ojomo. So a loaded room, all about it. But let's take a look at this depth chart so we can see what this depth actually looks like on a damn chart. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Here is your Philadelphia Eagles 2023 offense right now. Now, if anyone makes the team or is traded, blah, 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 this will change. So You've got Hurts with the quarterbacks. You see very set there. Running back. Oh, yeah. Swift, Penny, Gainwell. Then the receivers, Browns. I mean, look at that. Now, if Zacchaeus can take that job, I'll put him in there. Goddard. Now, who wants to be the 2, the 3? You've got guys competing. The offensive line, feel pretty damn good about, but who is winning that job? Tyler Steen, my man. Let's go. Now, you obviously, you guys that have been tuning in, sorry for anyone that's not. Anyone in green here, obviously new to the team this season. So everyone else been on the roster at some point last year or whatever. So you see here, man, we added a bunch of depth pieces, but you got a couple starters too. Now, whether it's Juergens or Steen at right guard is to be seen, but I told you Stout loves Steen, so I'm all about it. Let's go Birds. Now, the wide receiver, sure, I get it. People are scared there, but I think you've got some intriguing undrafted kids and some other guys that will push them. So excited to watch the battles. And if they need, they will make a move. Now, this defense, you're going to see a lot of odd fronts. You're going to see a lot of different things, but you're also going to see a lot of nickel packages. So I added 12 starters here. So you see, so if anyone takes this, make sure you tell people, look, he added so that you can see what a 5-man front looks like. So where I had the defensive end, where I had that Sam linebacker, that's what I want you to understand with Reddick and then Nolan Smith behind him. Now, Nolan Smith can also be right where Nicholas Morrow is. So, again, keep that in mind. But I wanted to make this so you understand. You've got those 3 interior guys. You've got Carter, Davis, Cox. It could easily be Milton Williams in there. Then you got Tuipulotu, Ojoma, Street was brought in. Noah Ellis, he's got a long road, but he's a big boy. He's pretty much the only nose tackle depth you've got. But when you need a 1-tech, you need that zero shade monster, 2-gap run stuffer. Jordan Davis, Noah Ellis there. Now, a couple of these other guys you can use at the 1-tech. I mean, Jalen Carter can play anywhere on the line. He's a freak of nature. So love that. But you just see what it looks like inside. Now, outside of that is Sweat and Reddick. Now, their depth beyond that, Graham, Smith, and then, I mean, you see, we talked about it, but that's how it is set up. I see a lot of confusion about that. But again, Smith can also play off ball. So you could see Dean and Smith, not just Dean and Morrow, but you see the guys behind them. Then you see that secondary. Now for the safeties, I talked about it, could be 3 starting safeties. Not sure who wants to win the job. It could be Reed and Sidney. Could be Terrell. And I mean, who knows? But we talked about it. There's going to be split safeties, hybrid safeties. It's not really about free safety, strong safety here in this defense. So got rid of that. But look, good depth there too. I'm not as worried as a lot of others are. But if they want to add, I'm not against it. Now on the special teams unit, we talked about the specialists, but let's talk about those return specialists. So we talked about Britton Covey, talked about Boston Scott as a kick returner. Now, the guys like Greg Ward, Cleveland, Gainwell, and Zacchaeus are obviously going to be on the roster, but Nada, Cleveland, Ward, trying to get a spot on this roster. Can they do it by being return men? Now, Greg Ward's dependable as a returner, but he's not that great. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say Devin Allen, but Devin Allen hasn't returned a kick in over 10 years. So Eagles didn't even give him a shot at it. Maybe if he works on it, they could put him back there, but that's not the guy I'm trusting to be my return man. That didn't even, and he did it 8 times, I think, in college 10 years ago. So, I would not be against, as I said during that trade video, getting a guy like Cordero Patterson, a Jalen Darden when he gets cut, something where it doesn't cost you anything, but you add to the return game. That's somewhere I'm not going to be mad at, man, at all. But, like I said, we've got nothing but guys there. So, yeah. And as I said, Jalen Carter can play all across the line. He can be that 1-tech guy. He can be the 3. He can play 5-tech. This dude, freak of nature. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I've got for you tonight. And, man, we're going to run the same thing we did last year and the year before that. We're going to have schemes like that, but you're going to see a lot of, different things too. I mean, Desai's going to bring his own flavor, but a lot of those 5-man fronts, the penny fronts, a lot of even fronts too. You'll see 4-2, you'll see nickel, you'll see all kinds of different things that will break that down too. And I'll be making those graphics where I show you how they're actually lined up. So do not fear, that will be here very soon. But Reddick and Sweat on the outside. Yeah, man. And they were so dominant doing that last year. I love those 5-man fronts. You saw 70 sacks. We almost broke the record, which is 73. So this year, I think we can beat it. And you saw with the first team, 4 players over 10 sacks. And there were actually 4 players over 12 plus sacks. So, hey-oh, let's go. All about it. I'm excited about this defense, offense, but ladies and gentlemen, I got to get rolling in. Don't think I'll be here tomorrow. Got the young man's birthday party. So hope you're all having a great weekend. Hope you have a great Sunday, but I will be back next week. We're breaking everything down. When I get Dan Arnold's cap numbers, all that stuff, I'll talk about the, you'll see the updated cap space, all that stuff. Do not fear. I'll keep you up to date throughout this offseason. It's going to be tough times, but Monday we'll also be talking about what happened during those rookie minicamp tryouts, who made the team, if anyone. And if they did, we'll break those people down. So do not fear. I will be here. And I'll be getting that defensive show ready for next week as well. So you'll get to see all of the different and I'll try to make it very simplified for you so you can just see like 3-4, 4-3, 4-2, and when it's nickel, when it's dime. And there's not going to be too much like cute stuff. I don't want to, and maybe I'll make a page where I just, explain what under, over, just what those things are, because within each scheme, there is always a possibility to, okay, we can take out, this interior lineman. You've got your, 5-man front. You could take out Jordan Davis, and then you're adding in a nickel corner. Now you have a 4-man front, but now you've got an extra defensive back. You've got 5 back there. So all those things are possible. I'll show you what all that stuff looks like with their little faces in there. And you guys will be able to share and use all that stuff. I made one the first day of the draft and everyone's sharing it and they're like, whoa, Sidney Brown. I'm like, well, dude, we didn't draft Sidney Brown on the first day. So if you guys could just explain that when you take those, but it is what it is. I appreciate each and every one of you though. Twisted Sean, Yayo, the Dank Burrito in the house. My man, Luffy was in here, I know. And Anth, you were in here at the beginning, but I didn't ever see you again. We had good vibes in here. Real MVP. Clarence, my man, as well. Appreciate you. Big Daddy, let's go. I appreciate you all. It counts. Now, hope you all enjoy the rest of your Saturday evening. Hope you enjoy your Sunday. If you need me, feel free to reach out. But until next time, I am Jimmy Smith, and this is On the Road to Victory. If you got anything from this, do me a favor. Hit that like button. You can always subscribe down below. But you all stay safe out there. And as always, say it with me now, chat. Go Birds!